All right, you're welcome back to the part 2 of funding your business idea. This time around, I want to be focusing on how to prepare your business to become attractive to investors. What are some of the things you need to do to put in place to ensure that you're able to maximize your engagement with investors? Recently somebody reached out to me and was asking, how do I protect my intellectual property? I said, break it down. What exactly do you mean? He said, I have an idea in my head and I want to begin to share it with investors, but I'm afraid I don't want them to steal my idea. I said, well, first of all, understand that the idea is not yours until you have done a few things, which are some of the things I'll be talking about today. In my book, Funding Your Business Idea, I shared something of the fact that you can't actually take an idea that is not yours to go source funding. At best, that's what a lot of startup founders are doing. For an idea to be yours, you must have put in what I call the sweat equity. And one of such things to do is that you want to develop a solid business plan. What does a business plan do for you? I know that in our previous video, I paid a lot of attention to talking about how to develop a business plan. I recommend you go watch that because that was a bit more detailed. This time around, I'm just talking about it in passive. You need a solid business plan. A business plan details the idea. It talks about how you hope to execute the idea. It talks about your team. And it talks about the market. The business plan demonstrates the expertise of your team with which you will bring to bear your promises. Because an idea could fail in the hand of one team and prosper in the hand of another team. In fact, I talked about this in my last session at the Startup Grind event in Benin, where I talked about funding your business, the U factor. In fact, for watching this video, I'm going to put a link in this video where you can get that document for free. So you just follow the link. It takes you to my seller page. I'm going to put a code that you can use also to get that slide that I taught for free. It talks about the power of your team, the power of you in sourcing your funding. So the second thing you want to look at in sourcing funding is the quality of your team members, which is something I eventually talked about before I highlighted the quality of your team members. Because investors don't just barely invest because an idea is powerful. One of the questions they ask themselves is that, who are the people behind this idea? What is their expertise? What have they done in the past? Have they failed before? Have they succeeded before? Because if you have not failed before, it doesn't mean that you are good. It only means that you most likely have never tried. So investors will rather invest in the team that have dared something and failed, and in the course of their conversation, able to prove they've taken a deep look at why they failed, and they put modalities in place to make sure it doesn't reoccur. That team is much more powerful than a team that was just starting something for the first time. So that's something you want to work on. The third is that you must create what we call a prototype or a minimum viable product. What does that mean? It's a dilemma for you to take an idea, spend 1 to 2 years to develop and build that idea completely before you find out whether or not the market wants it. It's the reason why I authored the book I titled Choosing a Profitable Business Idea. You also can get it while watching this video. The link will be somewhere in this video. Then after that, I authored another one I titled From Idea to Market. There's a step-by-step process you must take your idea through to the market. And one of it is that build a minimum viable product, which is a product that have majority of the features that you want to sell. Test that features with a small group of people. The feedback you get from those set of persons will tell you where to focus on, because you are just an individual. You've seen an idea, you've seen how it solves a problem, and you're currently working on it. When you throw that idea that prototype to 50 persons, you're going to hear from 50 persons other aspects of that challenge that they would have loved you to deal with. So that will help you remodify. And sometimes the feedback from these people will tell you not to bother about the idea. What that does is that it would have saved you all of those wasted years. I will always tell people, this my book from idea to market costs 3,000 naira, and you will not invest in it. That's an equivalent of $3. If you will not invest in it and you give your energy and time to an idea only to find out 1 year, 2 years down the line that it's not a viable idea, you would have lost a lot of energy, a lot of time, but the only benefit is that you would have learned a lot. And I hope that knowledge is able to help you. But what about just learning from the book? He said experience is a good teacher, but my opinion is that it doesn't have to be your experience. That's why we read books. That's why we buy courses. So we learn from other people's experience. So the fourth is that you want to understand your financials. When I teach people about pitch presentation, I use this 3H. I said the first H is that when you're talking to investors, you want to target their hearts. That's where you come up with that emotional story that drives the purpose of your business. Once you get their heart, the next thing is you want to get their head. That's when you talk about the numbers. Because no matter how emotionally driven an investor is, when it's time to sign the check, the investor becomes logical. So you want to get their hearts, to get their attention, then get their head with the numbers, the size of the markets and all of that, so that you must understand. You must be able to speak to this just face to face with the investor, with or without a document in your hand. So the numbers must be clear in your head. Then after that, you ask for their hand, the heart, the head, and the hand. That's it. So you must understand your numbers. The fifth and final among these five is that you must refine your pitch. You must refine your pitch. I'm sure you would have heard about what we call the elevator pitch. What it means is that 30 seconds to 1 minute conversation, that when you have it with anybody, that person turns and possibly gives you a card and book an appointment to hear more about your idea. So that's an elevator pitch. But once you secure that attention and secure an engagement, you want to be able to send a pitch deck that's between 10 to 12 pages, graphics and illustrations that points to everything you want to do. Investors are not very free people that have time to read a long document. Even in your business plan, they emphasize why you must do a lot about your executive summary, because most times that's the only page an investor will read. So refine your pitch. So next, we're going to be talking about how to engage investors effectively. I'm assuming that now you have secured a date to go sit before an investor. How do you prepare yourself for such an engagement?